It was a cold January day, the 15th of 2009, and the skies above New York City were clear, a rare calm before the storm that would unfold just minutes later. US Airways Flight 1549, a routine commuter flight from LaGuardia Airport to Charlotte, North Carolina, was about to etch itself into the annals of aviation. History not through its flight path, but through an act of bravery, ingenuity, and sheer resolve. The aircraft, an Airbus A320, lifted off from the runway, its engines roaring in the frigid air as it ascended over the Bronx. Among the 155 souls aboard, there was no forewarning that the flight would become a life or death struggle. The crew, led by Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger, a seasoned pilot with over 40 years of flying experience, had seen it all, yet nothing could prepare them for what was about to unfold. Barely 3 minutes into the flight, disaster struck. A flock of Canada geese collided with the aircraft, the impact shattering both engines. In an instant, the plane went from smooth flight to a chaotic fall from the sky. The engines, essential for keeping the aircraft airborne, had been rendered useless. Without power, the once familiar hum of the engines was replaced by a haunting silence, broken only by the shrill calls from the cockpit as Sully and his co-pilot, Jeffrey Skiles, worked frantically to assess their options. The enormity of the crisis was clear. The plane could not reach any airport in time. The skyline of Manhattan loomed ahead, a beautiful yet terrifying sight, with its towering skyscrapers an obstacle that seemed impossible to navigate in such dire circumstances. Every decision now had to be made in a matter of seconds. The crew's training and experience were now their only allies. At that moment, Captain Sullenberger, a man who had flown thousands of miles across continents, whose life had been devoted to the art of aviation, made a decision that would define his career and alter the course of history. With no viable landing options on the radar, he began a daring descent into the only open area he could see, the Hudson River. The river stretched before him, calm yet unforgiving, with little margin for error. Below, the city was beginning to stir, unaware of the perilous drama unfolding above them. Sully's hands gripped the controls as the plane, now falling with terrifying speed, cut through the winter sky. His mind raced, but his training, honed over decades of flight, anchored him. "You can do this," he must have whispered to himself, though no one could hear it. His fingers danced over the controls, urging the plane forward, holding it steady as the waters of the Hudson beckoned below. The plane was too low to regain altitude, and the ground was too close to be avoided. This was it, the final moment. There could be no hesitation. It took just seconds to make the decision, and then, with the smooth precision that comes only from years of experience, Sully and Skiles pulled off the impossible. In an extraordinary act of aviation skill, the A320 touched down gently on the river, its belly skimming the surface. The fuselage skidded for several hundred feet. But against all odds, it came to a halt. The water, cold and dark, embraced the aircraft, but it held it steady. The lives of everyone aboard were saved. The world stood still in disbelief. The miracle had happened. No one had expected this outcome. The scene that unfolded on the surface of the Hudson was nothing short of miraculous, a testament to the power of human resolve, skill, and quick thinking. As the plane came to a halt on the frigid waters of the Hudson River, the reality began to set in. The passengers, initially in shock, were now faced with the overwhelming sense of survival. The crew, calm and composed, swiftly began evacuation procedures. The rescue boats were already on their way as emergency responders, many of whom had only seconds' notice of the disaster, raced toward the crash site. Captain Sullenberger, the unassuming hero, quickly became the face of this miraculous event. Media outlets from around the world scrambled to capture the story, but Sully, with his trademark humility, deflected attention from himself, instead focusing on the teamwork that had made the miracle possible. He was quick to credit his crew, his co-pilot, the cabin attendants, and the emergency responders who had acted without hesitation. Yet there was no denying that it was his composure, skill, and experience that had guided the aircraft to safety. The aftermath was swift. The passengers of Flight 1549, their lives spared by a thin thread, were celebrated as survivors. But it was Captain Sullenberger who found himself thrust into the global spotlight. The man who had calmly steered a plane to a successful water landing became an overnight icon, a symbol of what could be achieved through calm under pressure and deep commitment to one's craft. In the days that followed, Sully was hailed as a hero. The incident was soon dubbed the Miracle on the Hudson, a story of survival, yes, but also a story of leadership of a man who had been entrusted with the lives of 154 others, and who, in the face of the unimaginable, had performed an act of courage that defied all odds. In the years that have passed since that fateful day, the impact of Flight 1549 endures. Sullenberger's story serves as a testament to the power of human resilience, but also as a reminder of the fine line between tragedy and triumph. For every action taken on that day, there was a world of preparation that led to it. Every flight in the years that followed carried with it the invisible legacy of that moment. Aviation procedures were reevaluated, training programs reinforced, and the world's trust in human decision-making was, in some strange way, renewed. But beyond the accolades, beyond the interviews and the accolades, Captain Sullenberger's story asks us a question: how would we respond in the face of the unimaginable? When the world crashes down, when everything we know and understand is ripped from us in an instant, will we find the strength to carry on? Will we be able to think clearly when all around us is chaos? In this moment, we are reminded that true heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear the calm of experience and the clarity of purpose. Sully's calm decision in the cockpit that day didn't just save lives, it left us with a lesson that we carry forward. In the darkest of times, courage can shine through, and the impossible may just be within reach.